Hey everybody, it's Friday night, I'm Katallina, and this is the week that was. This week we are celebrating the start of the spring 2024 anime season, and as such I felt it would be appropriate to list off my top 5 favorite first episodes of new shows that have come out this week. We'll be doing one of these next week too, since there's still a ton of things that have yet to have their first episode, but I thought this would be a great way to spotlight some of the new things out and about for people to watch and to share my thoughts on them quickly. Anyway, let's get going. Coming in at number 5, we have Bartender, Glass of God. If you're looking for something that is chill and relaxed, with a slight sprinkle of mystery mixed in, this is probably a really good pick for you. And when I say mystery, I don't necessarily mean like who done it and somebody died or something, but like just the overall question of, is Eden Hall actually something unique and special in a mystical sense, or is it just a really high quality bar? Because based off of the way the first episode went and the praise and encouragement for fans of Death Parade to check this show out, I really am wondering what we're going to see here. Also, I mean, come on, it's called Eden Hall, and the subtitle of the anime is Glass of God, so we'll have to see whether there's some underlying meaning or something else going on, or whether this is just a super chill slice of life that people will be able to enjoy. Either way, I think the first episode did really well. I liked the character Ryu, who's the bartender. I thought the two ladies going around and trying to find a bartender for that professional bar at the hotel or restaurant was a neat idea, and that they were the first to find this and to show us what this was interesting. I also thought it was kind of cool how if Ryu has any kind of mystical potential, that he also seemed to have really crap luck with technology, which is something I've done in my work before when I've dealt with immortal or divine characters, so that kind of cracked me up. Overall though, definitely something worth checking out. I enjoyed the first episode, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it more on here in the weeks to come. Next up at number 4, we have Spice and Wolf, which is a remake of an older anime, and it seems like it's off to a pretty cool start. I hadn't watched the original, so I can't really tell you how similar or different those are, but I really liked the first episode. It gave me some super cute sort of fairy tale or folklore inspired vibes, which I really liked, and the art style was this beautiful, wonderfully shaded style of art that just really drew me in and added to those whimsical fairy tale themes. I like the two lead characters, Holo and Lawrence. I thought that they were pretty cool. I think it's really interesting how Holo is kind of like this goddess type character who can actually be a bit of a gremlin, while Lawrence is more down to earth, more practical. I mean, he's got real world concerns, he's trying to run a business, and the two of them are, I think, are going to play off of each other really well. I thought it was really interesting at the one point where he is like, prove to me that you are this goddess, prove this to me if you want to travel with me. And it's like, oh dude, this is not going to end good for you. This never ends good for anyone when they do this to anything divine. And of course, she does prove it to him, and she scares him shitless, which cracked me the hell up. And then he goes back to the room that he has at the place he's staying at in the town and finds her in the bed, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, Holo, for the love of all that's holy, get some clothes. And by the end of the episode she does, and they're his, which again totally amused me. And it was cool just seeing them ride off together in the cart off to have their adventures and see what happened to them. Anyway, yet again, I'm sure we'll be talking about this one more on the show as we go on, but yep, really liked the first episode, and that will be our number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Remonster. Now this is one of the ones I'm actually following on the channel. I have a full video of that, and I'm gonna see whether my nubby VTuber butt can actually pop that up in the corner for you guys. We'll see how that turns out, but yeah, I really liked the way that this one opened up. I thought it was super cool how they use this system where they actually show the days that are going by for these characters, and they show them maturing, which was really cool since we're dealing with somebody who was reincarnated as a baby goblin, and we're showing how fast that they're growing up and maturing and doing all their stuff. This show, for anyone who didn't see my full video, is about a guy who reincarnates as a goblin. He actually kind of gets powers and has a power system similar to something like that time I was reincarnated as a slime, or solo leveling. So if you like anything where characters level up and actually get skills and abilities and stuff, this is something that might be worth checking out. The really key thing for me about this show, though, the thing I really liked and I thought was really interesting, is that this character, when he's telling us about this life versus his past life, one thing he notices is that he actually seems more emotionally connected to this life and to the goblins than how he was in his previous life, which really makes me question, what kind of a guy is this actually going to turn out to be? Which is a really interesting question to have, because normally when you see a human character be brought into a monstrous setting, the human character ends up setting up the tone of the morality of the thing, whereas in this case I almost question how much of it is going to be him changing them and how much will be them changing him, which is a fascinating twist on the overall formula. But if you want more on that, please check out my full video. I will be continuing to cover it because I am enjoying it so far. And that'll be that for number 3. Coming in at number 2, which absolutely shocks me to my core because this is my baby, my precious, my chosen anime of the season, the one that I am staking my name on, and that is An Archdemon's Dilemma: How to Love Your Elf Bride, which actually got 2 episodes in 1 week, which was fascinating, and which I think it needed to really help people get into the vibe and groove of what it actually is. But it was really great and I really enjoyed it. I think that they got off to a great start. They're doing a good job of showing what the 2 key characters, Zagan and Neffy, are actually like when they interact with each other. They're doing a good job at moving past the initial power dynamic problem that the characters have. Obviously, since we're dealing with something that is running, at least in part, a slave-master relationship as part of the comedic value, that is never going to be fixed properly in 2 episodes, but at least we're seeing a more interesting interaction between the 2. At any rate, if you'd like to know more about An Archdemon's Dilemma, please feel free to take a look at the 2 discussion videos that I have on my channel, because they're there and ready to be listened to and commented on. Thanks very much. And finally, coming in at number 1, shattering my expectations but thankfully not my teeth, sucker punching every other show out of the way and completely taking me by surprise, is Windbreaker. This was a shock for me, guys. Now, I was looking forward to this show and I was looking forward to watching it, but it's one of the shows that are on Thursday, and Thursdays are so busy for me as it is that I simply could not cover it with everything else that I'm covering that day. But when I sat down last night to actually watch it, it was like almost midnight when I put it on. I was watching it before I went to sleep, and I was just completely shocked. I mean, I had to keep my voice down reacting to what I was watching because I kept wanting to cheer and make comments and stuff like that as I was going through the show, because the action in the show was just so intense and I was so glued to my screen that I was forgetting that there were people in the other room sleeping. It was that engrossing. It was that captivating. What this is it's a story of this guy. His name is Haruka, and he is about to start going to this place called Fujin High School, and at the school these kids love to fight, but they're not just a bunch of assholes. What they are actually is, a couple years before Haruka gets there, these guys start planning and organizing around protecting this local area that their school is housed in and making that overall neighborhood or area safer, because it's very prone to gang wars and basically thug life, and they don't want any more of it. So they started teaming up. They learned more advancedly how to actually fight, because these kids are already delinquents. They already have that tendency, but they learn to actually channel that energy and that frustration into something valuable. And now we have Haruka coming in. He's new. He has dealt with a whole bunch of bullshit. I really felt for the guy, because his thing is that he has white hair naturally on one side, white eyelashes, white eyebrows, and a golden eye. On the other side, he has black hair, dark eye, dark brow, dark lashes. And like, he has been tormented his entire life about his appearance, people arguing that he is some piece of shit troublemaker, dye your fucking hair, all that hot garbage. And yeah, that would really take its toll on a person. I mean, I don't have that, but I mean, I have issues like with my hands, or I walk with a limp and stuff like that. So like, I can totally get where this guy is coming from, and I really felt for him. The other really neat thing is like the way they advertise this show. And I mean, they had to do something to make it stand out because obviously they didn't want to give away how incredible the fight choreography was going to be. So instead they focused on the idea that this guy is a absolute loner. This guy wants to do his own thing. This guy wants to get to the top. This guy doesn't give a shit about teamwork. So coming into something like this, and as I was watching the first episode and learning more about this place and its culture and everything, I was like, oh no, this is going to be a problem. But Dude is actually the kind of character that we would generally get from something like this, in that he is a badass with a heart of gold. We see him at the very start of the episode protect a lady. We see him notice that an elderly grandpa has left a bag in a shop and go, hey mister, you left this, and make sure the guy gets his bag back. We see him protect the lady again. We see him defend against a bunch of really just jackass thugs who are trying to really screw things around and everything. So I mean, on one hand, I get where they were coming from with the marketing. I'm glad that's not exactly the kind of character we got. What I will say about Haruka is that he is a tsundere. If he gets complimented, if he gets praised, if people get too close and too cuddly, he gets really uncomfortable with it because he just doesn't know how to deal with that, because he's dealt with so much crap growing up, and I really felt for him in that regard. But anyway, Windbreaker is absolutely my #1 pick for anime for this first week. It totally took me off guard. It absolutely caught me by surprise, but it is what it is. It was an absolutely fantastic episode. If you have any interest in shows that have a bunch of action and a bunch of amazing fight choreography, I would 10 out of 10 recommend that you absolutely check this episode out. Whether you end up watching the entire series or whether you're just somebody who loves to see a really good and well-designed series of fights, this is definitely something worth seeing. The writing itself was pretty solid too, but this is definitely somewhere where I want to make sure that I praise something outside of what's normally in my wheelhouse. I usually talk about writing and storytelling and stuff because that's my area, but even I could immediately see, even with my crap vision, that the way that everything was set up here was absolutely incredible and was just a cut above anything I've seen this week. So absolutely check that out. Anyway, that is my list for this week. Those are the top 5 episodes of new shows that have come out, and we will be back next week talking about a bunch of other shows and doing this for them too. Anyway, this has been Katallina, and you've been watching The Week That Was, and I will see you in another video. Bye!